In the previous video, I've introduced this pivot table challenge, and I hope you have tried yourself first. The scenario goes like this. You're given a sales data set. Sales quantity has been increasing over time, but overall revenue it's not growing as expected. Your task is to analyze the data and identify what may be causing this issue. In this video, I'll show you the walkthrough of how I would investigate this issue using pivot tables. And the goal here is not just to create pivot tables, but to use pivot tables to ask better questions and also to find out what is actually the driving issue. And let's dive into it. Let's start with the first task, identify the trend. We need to analyze how revenue and quantity change over time. And let me scroll down. This is the sales dataset given. So to create the first pivot table, we just need to click inside the dataset, then go to Insert, then click on Pivot Table. And for now, I'll just choose New Worksheet, then click on OK. Alright, so this is the blank pivot tables that I've just created. And let me just zoom in. And I want to take a look at the trend for the revenue and quantity. So let me just drag in the quantity to the values and the revenue as well. And let me also drag in the date. And the dates are grouped automatically into days and month. So for now, I'll just take a look at the month. So let me just remove the date and the days. From this first pivot table, we can see that the quantity is generally increasing, but the revenue is not really increasing at the same pace as the quantity. And if we look closer, we can even see that the revenue decreases from May until June. To see the revenue changes more clearly, I can drag in one more revenue to the values area. And over here, there is this sum of revenue to, which is the same calculation, but here I'll just click at the value field settings to change the calculation. And I'll go to the show values as, and here I'll find the difference from. And the base field will be the month date, and the base item I'll choose previous. Then click on OK, and here I got the revenue difference for each month. Let me just rename this. So now we can see how the revenue changes from month to month. From this revenue difference, we can see that even though the revenue increased from January until May, but the growth is getting smaller over time. And from May until June, the revenue dropped, and this causes a negative revenue difference in the month of June. So from this first pivot table, we can tell that even though the quantity is increasing over time, but the revenue doesn't grow at the same pace. And in June, the revenue even decreased. So we'll need to investigate further to find out what is causing this decrease. So let's take a look at task 2, breakdown by region. Identify which region is contributing most to this issue. Alright, so we'll need to create a second pivot table. To create a second pivot table, I can either go back to the dataset, then click inside and go to Insert, then click on Pivot Table. But there's a faster way, which is to just copy the existing pivot table. So for now, I'll just copy this pivot table and then paste it. And now we're going to investigate by region. So I'll just drag in the region, but instead of putting it below month, I'll put it above the month. And now from this pivot table, we can compare how each region performed over time. From this breakdown, the revenue slowdown doesn't seem to be caused by one specific region because each region has at least 1 month of revenue decrease. But we can see that for the South and West region, the revenue decreased from May until June. So the revenue drop during June is likely to be caused by the South and West region. And this is a very useful information, but we'll need to further investigate into the category and also product. So let's move on to task 3, go deeper. Break down the results further to identify the patterns across product or category. So since this pivot table is already being copied, so let's paste it again. And over here, I'll just drag in the category first and put it above the month. And for the values area, I'll just keep this sum of quantity, sum of revenue, and also revenue difference. So from here, we can see that for the electronics, there is this decrease of revenue in June. And for furniture, it looks fine. The revenue is increasing over time. So the only decrease is caused by this electronics product. So let's go further by dragging this product and put it on the category and above the month. So now we can see the breakdown of this product. And for this product breakdown, we can see that the laptop sales had a huge decrease from April until June. And another decrease is caused by the table sales in May. So let's dig even deeper by dragging in this discount to the values area. For discount, I'll change this calculation to average. So let me go to value field settings and choose average, then click on OK. And here we can see the average discount for each of the product in each month. So from here, we can see that the average discount rate for all of the product increased over time from January until June, but not every product have this revenue issue. So mainly it's this laptop sales that is having this revenue issue. And this is likely because laptop is a high value product. So when the revenue drops, it had huge impact compared with the lower value products like chair and table. And while for phone, the discount rate is also increasing over time, but you can see that the quantity increased a lot to be able to push this revenue up. Finally, these are my final insight. So the quantity increased over time, but the revenue growth slowed and dropped in June. And the issue is not caused by one single region, as each region had at least 1 month with the revenue decline. But for South and West, they are the main region that caused the revenue drop in June. And lastly, laptop is the key product to review. Discount increased over time, and the revenue decreased in several months, despite being a major revenue contributor. This wraps up the Pivot Table Challenge and the entire Pivot Table series. If you have tried this Pivot Table Challenge before watching this solution walkthrough, well done. Even if your pivot tables are not exactly the same as mine, that's okay. The most important thing is whether your analysis help you to move closer to the business answer. And if you want more practice like this, I've created a pivot table practice pack with 5 real business scenarios and guided solution walkthrough. And these 5 real business scenarios cover sales, expenses, customer support, inventory, and management reporting. If you're watching this from YouTube, you can find the link in the description below. And if you're watching this from Xiaohongshu, you can go to my website, mark-analytics.com, and you'll find this practice pack. Lastly, if you find this tutorial and this series useful, make sure to like, follow, or subscribe me, and I'll see you in the next one.